A self-driving Uber SUV struck a pedestrian in Tempe, Arizona. The victim, 49-year-old Elaine Herzberg, was killed. Welcome back to What's Trending. I'm Shira Lazar. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more social media news daily. The vehicle was not in service at the time, but rather was being tested by Uber as part of an upcoming program utilizing self-driving cars. In fact, there was a human test driver in the car, 44-year-old Rafael Vasquez, though the 2017 Volvo XC90 was in autonomous mode at the time. The investigation is still in its preliminary stages, though it seems that Vasquez was not at fault. The vehicle showed no signs of slowing when it hit Herzberg, who was pushing a bicycle across the street. Police are saying that the incident may have been unavoidable, even with a human driver. You know, it's easy these days to just say, blame the robots. Tempe Police Chief Sylvia Moore said, "It's very clear it would have been difficult to avoid this collision in any kind of mode based on how she came from the shadows right into the roadway. The driver said it was like a flash. The person walked out in front of them. His first alert to the collision was the sound of the collision." In fact, even though the investigation is still ongoing, it seems that the Tempe police are putting the blame on the victim.
And we just want to make sure that our citizens are safe, and if there's availability to do it, please use the crosswalks when you're crossing the street. Nobody wants to go through this. We in our department are investigators, and I'm sure the family also. Using the crosswalks will definitely limit any tragic incidents from happening again.
Author Janet Sadiq Khan isn't having it though. She tweeted, "The first non-driver death of the autonomous age, and police are already blaming the victim. Crossing outside of the crosswalk was never a valid excuse for traffic deaths, and it provides no cover for autonomous mobility companies." Nevertheless, Uber has placed self-driving car tests on hold in Phoenix, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Toronto. And the CEO of Uber tweeted, "Some incredibly sad news out of Arizona. We're thinking of the victim's family as we work with local law enforcement to understand what happened." And even if the self-driving car isn't at fault, this is still a big story because it's the first time a human pedestrian has been killed by an autonomous vehicle. And it brings up a lot of questions, because already I think we don't trust this whole thing. The only other death associated with self-driving cars was actually a driver in an autonomous Tesla in 2016. And based on new rules recently put into place by Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, Uber could be held criminally responsible for Herzberg's death. That being said, experts still believe that self-driving cars are the future. And it's not just to save money, it's actually, surprisingly, for safety reasons too. According to civil engineering professor Peter Hancock, self-driving cars will ultimately be the safer option. He writes, "The statistics measuring how many crashes occur are hard to argue with. More than 90% of car crashes in the US are thought to involve some form of driver error. Eliminating this error would, in 2 years, save as many people as the country lost in all of the Vietnam War." But regardless of how safe it is, a lot of these companies are now going to have a tough sell on their hands. According to a Reuters Ipsos poll, 67% of Americans would not feel comfortable riding in a self-driving car. And in a much less scientific Twitter poll, 44% said they'd never ride in a self-driving car, while 29% said, test it for 10 years first. Nevertheless, self-driving cars are still coming very quickly. Waymo, Alphabet's self-driving rideshare service, is testing in Arizona and plans to launch in the state later this year.
Oh, this is weird.
This is the future.
Yeah, she was like, is there no one driving that car?
I think that self-driving cars are gonna happen. I mean, I've seen them at CES and all the other conventions and conferences where it's literally like a living room where you can hang out and do your work and go on a date. It's pretty cool. And I do think probably machines and robots are safer than humans. I mean, between our texting and doing other stuff, like, I don't know how reliable we are. But I do think we're gonna have a lot of kinks to work out to get it to a place where we all feel comfortable. Would I just jump in right now and be like, yeah, I'm gonna just take a nap? Probably not. By the time I have kids, I probably think they're gonna live a life where like self-driving cars are the thing. You know, my parents didn't have cell phones and social media, and that's gonna be like the thing for my kids. Like, they're gonna have self-driving cars, perhaps. So would you ever be driven in a self-driving car? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more of What's Trending. And for more stories, go to whatstrending.com.